Oh, hello, Angela. It's nice to
Hi,
meet you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good, good.
Thank
Glad
you.
to hear
Thank you.
that. Yeah, absolutely. So the TV series from season three is currently airing. I'm so excited, by the way.
It
And your
is.
character, Bakta, has a very distinctive presence in the show. So how did you prepare for this role?
Uh, well, I kind of got the audition kind of last, it wasn't like, a couple months early or anything like this, right? So when you asked how I prepared, it was more about giving my interpretation of what the writer gave me.
Mhm.
And then after the fact, after I was on my way to, going to shoot in Halifax, I was writing my backstory for the character, right? I didn't have a lot of time. I was kind of cast last minute, so I was actually in Maui on vacation, and, and
How fun.
yeah, and I had to leave basically, I think that day to
Mm,
get back to Vancouver, where I live, and
okay.
then from there, fly to Halifax. So I was in Halifax within about, uh, 36 hours or so, right? So during that time, I guess while I was on the plane, I started to think about my character, where she was from, her motivations. I didn't have very much to go on,
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, until I actually had a conversation with the writer, John Griffin. And we had breakfast, and I was like, okay, so tell me what's going in that crazy mind of yours when you're, because there's a lot of characters on the show, right? And Bakta didn't arrive till season two. And so I was like, okay, so where did you get the name from? Where is she from? Like, what are your thoughts about this character? What was her purpose in your mind? Can you tell me anything, right? So he didn't actually say a whole heck of a lot other than he envisioned her to be a survivor of Hurricane Katrina. So I took from that she was a survivor,
Mm-hmm.
right? And my mother was a survivor of a lot of, just life, right? So I just thought I just carry my strength, the spirit of my mother with her. And then I think when Dr. arrived, she's kind of, pretty cranky, right? Not exactly pleasant, right? A lot of people were like, oh, what's her problem? What's her attitude, right? And I kind of like that. It was a little bit spicy there, But in her mind, in her defense, I mean, being a bus driver is not an easy job, right?
That's right.
And she's dealing with these, incidents on her bus, and this was her last ride. In her mind, this was the last thing that she was going to do before she was going to retire from bus driving and go lead a whole different life. So I think that's why she was just kind of cranky to get everything out of there. She really just had that sixth sense of sort of like, I got to get out of this place. We got to go. We got to go. Let me just take care of these passengers, let them get them to their destination, and let me just get on with my life.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how I prepared. It was just sort of like, this is a woman who is determined that this is going to be her, her last ride. She wants to get back to her family, and she wants to get back to this different life that she had envisioned for herself. And unfortunately, she's stuck in this town.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And that actually, I think that actually tied into my second question because I was going to ask you like the qualities of Bhakta's personality and what are those qualities that you would say kind of resonates more with you? And is there anything that you learned from Bhakta's character that kind of resonated with you personally as well too?
I think she's a straight shooter.
Mhm.
She kind of says what's on her mind.
Mhm.
She doesn't suffer fools gladly. But in this season, I think you see another side of her.
Yes.
And so I think the writers kind of shifted a little bit.
Mhm.
And I'm glad, right? I'm really happy about that, right?
Absolutely.
To make her more nurturing, more caring. And I think when I see, Ethan, it kind of reminds me of, my own son and wanting to take care of him. And so you see a more caring side. I think she wants to find her place in this town and a purpose, right? And I always, wanted to, talk to the sheriff a little bit more. I mean, let's face it, she's coming from, where she's coming from, and she gets to this town and all this craziness is ensuing, and like, who has the answers? What's going on? How do I fit in here? The, she went to Colony House, Cliff, not Cliff, sorry, I'm calling him by the actor's name, Dale, was trying to, get rid of us, right? He's like, where are these people gonna live? We don't only have enough food. Like, and she was like, I'm not wanted. I have to survive here. How am I gonna, get by? So for me, trying to adapt to her present circumstances. And I think if she was in survived Hurricane Katrina, a disaster of epic proportions, right? When that happens, you're taken out of the familiar, you're thrust into a situation, and what do? You have to learn to adapt. You have to learn to survive, right? You have to get along with people, right? You got to find your allies, right? And you have to find a way to get you through each day. And so that's why I think Bakta is the perfect person to, survive these circumstances, hopefully. You never know on this show,
That's
right?
right,
So,
exactly. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. So, how does Bakta's relationship with the other residents of this town grow as the series progresses?
I think you'll see what episode are we on now? I'm watching it with everybody else, by the way.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the finished season.
Okay, this is where after we just finished episode 4 just aired.
Four, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
So I haven't watched the next season.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean the
Like
next
episode.
show. So I don't want to give too much away
Absolutely not. Yes.
of any spoilers, right? So I'm not going to reveal too much, but I think that as I said before, she's finding her place. She's
Awesome.
finding her place, and I
Yeah.
think I think I think by season 4 that's kind of evident. And you're just going to see that softer side of her, more nurturing. Because in a town like that, you need a way to get through the day,
Yes.
right? And you see people, they're foraging for food. They're making do with what little that they have. So you got to find something to do. You got to find a way to contribute to the community because you want to be valued, right? You want to be valued and respected amongst strangers. So I think that she's found that place. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. So how do you think Bakta views the events unfolding in From, and how does she cope with the uncertainties and the dangers within the town?
Well, it's horrifying, right? In the second season, I joined and I see the outcome of what happened to a couple of my passengers, right? And you're hearing this stuff. I kind of respond myself personally. I kind of shut down in circumstances. I don't really react really strongly. I'm kind of hold tight. It doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but I'm actually just trying to uh, keep my grip on reality. And I think Bhakta is very similar in that response. She was pretty horrified, and I remember filming that scene. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. They didn't have actual dummies or bodies when we actually shot it, so the director showed me what they had done in special effects, and then I was like, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I was thinking they were going to have like, real bodies on there or something to me to react to, right? I'm supposed to act. That's the whole point. But I needed to figure out what kind of what kind of dismemberment they were going to be and how bad was it, right? And so once I saw it, I went on the bus and I kind of was like, okay, I kept those pictures in my mind. So having said that, those are things that Bakta's never going to forget, right? And she doesn't want to end up like that. And so I think in this season, you'll just find her just trying to be of use, to be of service, to comfort people, right? And that is very much actually like my nature.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I really, really like to help and
Yeah.
I like to be of use, right? I want to be doing something. I don't want to just sort of sit idly by on the sidelines. That's how I cope with things. Yeah.
That is wonderful. Thank you. So, in a place, of course, that's so unpredictable and terrifying, what would you say kind of motivates Bakta's decisions and her action?
I think I pretty much stated already, just to survive,
Oh,
right?
your life, yes,
To survive and adapt and to be of service,
yes, yes.
right? To really help out. I think, I kind of thought I'd love to see her and Donna interact a little bit more. I mean, I was pretty in charge, right, of my bus, and so having lost that, right, I think she's looking for, just to be, I don't know, just to be in charge of something. And I wondered what would happen if Don and I either got along or didn't get along, right? I think I was pretty, gruff with Tilly, when she was reading the tarot cards. So I think that's what I said. She's pretty matter of fact about certain things. It's sort of like, what are you thinking? I think she's kind of got that sense of, that black woman no nonsense business, when your mama says, well, I am not the one, like, what are you doing? There are certain sensibilities that Bhakta has, and when it comes to the supernatural, she don't play. Okay, she's not playing. So she's not the type of woman that would be playing with tarot cards in a town like that. She'd be like, what, and invite disaster? Like, in a horror movie, when people like they go through that door, they go down in the basement, Bhakta be like, nope, I'm
Right.
out of here.
That's right.
Right? She'd be like, no, I'm not playing with that Ouija board. Are you crazy, girl? Mm-mm. No, I'm not going down in that basement. No, I'm out. Right?
That's
So I
right.
think she's that type of person when it comes to supernatural things. She doesn't invite disaster, but I think she still has that other side to her where, especially with Ethan, that little boy, wanting to make something normal out of very unusual circumstances. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. And so this next question as well, too, I believe with the survival mode as well, of how Bhakta kind of contributes to that eerie and that suspenseful energy and everything that's in the atmosphere from the series. So what else or what do you hope the audience will take away from her role?
I've been told that, Bhakta is a character that people can really relate to. It's more of a grounding presence, I think. And they can see themselves as this person, coming in to this town, finding these unusual people, they're kind of, hippie-ish, I guess, in this colony house, all the stuff that goes on in there. And they just find that they can really relate to her, because I think that she has that no nonsense, straight shooter type of personality. So I really hope to see, a little bit more of that, and I think you'll see in the next episode, that, she just tries to get a little closer to certain people. And I won't say any more than that.
Okay, I will take it. Thank you. So would you say that you're the no nonsense straight shooter? Would you say that's Bhakta's biggest strength then? And also how she may use that strength to survive in that ongoing chaos as well? Yes, I agree.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I think she doesn't really, she doesn't, deal with fools very well.
Yeah.
I mean, she's smart. I mean, I think she keep her mouth shut when she needs to, but another time she's just sort of like, what are you doing? When the crow came through the window and someone's like, "Oh, it picked up," but I'm not touching that, right? Like, I think she's got a bit of that sort of superstitious quality. You
Mhm.
know how our moms would tell us certain things? I mean, like to this day, I don't like to put my purse on the ground.
Me either. Me.
Yeah, like there's something in it that just like makes me super uncomfortable.
Me.
Sometimes I've gone into restaurants and I can't find a place, I'm at a bar or something and there's no hook and I got to put it like on the floor, whatever, and it just drives me insane,
Me too.
right? So wherever I go, I'm like it's right next to me now in a chair, right?
This
I'll
way.
go into a salon and like I put it on the table, right? It's like and no like my hairdresser, she completely gets it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's never just toss it underneath there on the floor, right? I'm like, oh no, no, because I don't want to end up poor. I know it makes no sense.
But it's so true because that's what we were taught. That was instilled in us.
That was
Growing up.
instilled in us, and I
Wow.
think Bakta's like that. She mentions her grandmother, right? With that rhyme and everything, right? So it's those things that our ancestors gave us that we may not think about it, but it's there in the back of your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those teachings are always there.
It is. No.
So think she's that type of person that's just sort of like she may not, discuss it openly, but then something will happen. She'll be like, "Mm-hmm, well, I know, I'm not gonna, no, I'm not touching those tarot cards. Mm-mm, no, not a good idea,
Right.
right?" And well, like, my grandmother told me this thing, okay, all right, it's a nursery rhyme, but when you think about it, things like folklore and Grimm's tales are actually kind of gory
Yes.
if you go into the roots of it, and they're quite unpleasant. I don't know if they tell them anymore to school kids these days, but when you look at Grimm's tales and all those old stories of folk stories, they're not they're not pretty.
They really are not.
They are not
They
pretty, right?
are. No.
No. So, but I think there's a lesson there. There's a reason why those folk tales were told. And I think that with all of the strange goings on in this town, there's something to be said for those generations or the people that went before them. That's why when modern people, this is just my opinion, right? This isn't fact or anything, but my theory, Jade comes in and he's trying to figure everything out. But he's a very smart, savvy businessman, and he's thinking everything's a game. And and you see how crazy he's going trying to figure things out? But it's not, it's placed, all his clues are placed into what he sees and what he feels. But they're not really rooted in old stories that he knows,
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet it's Bakta and Elgin who say, "Oh, my grandmother said this," right? It's an old folk story that they've been told and handed down. And so certain things they may know more than they even realize, right? But it's from those ancestors that have told them these things. And other characters may not have that same knowledge.
That's right.
So that's just my theory.
Yes. No, that's a wonderful theory. I completely agree and understand. I love that. Thank you. All right, I'll give you the last question here if you don't mind. So, what has been the most challenging or even rewarding scene for you to film as Bakta in this series?
I really love working with my fellow colleagues. They're incredibly talented, and I learn by watching them, and I just want to work with them more, right? I got to do a scene with Harold Perrineau, and I've been watching his career for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I'm a character actor, so when I see other actors on the screen, I'm not necessarily looking at the star, I'm looking at the one standing next to them,
Right.
right? And as a black actor, I watch them in particular. So I remember years ago, I saw him in Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann version. And I saw him as Mercutio, and I thought, you know, I'd never seen anything like that on film to do with Shakespeare. And I saw him in The Matrix, and I saw him in, all these other films and The Wire and this and that. And I was like, wow, that's an amazing actor. So when I got a chance to do a scene with him, or anything to do with him, actually, anything, right? I'm just in the sphere, in the crowd scene. I just love watching him work,
Yes.
right? He just really drops into things, and he's just so present as Boyd when he works. And so I just try and you know, keep in the groove, keep up with him. He's very generous, you know, and so working with him, I think, was a real highlight. I worked briefly with Liz Saunders last year, and that was a hoot. I love working with her. Ethan, Simon Webster, the young man, he's adorable, fantastic actor. He's like the busiest working young actor out there. He's really, really busy. And he is also quite focused, quite serious
Oh,
when he works, right? He's still a kid, but he really knows his stuff, right? And I worked with David Alpay. Oh, that was a really good scene. That was last year with him. And he was a hoot, too. Jade is a fantastic character, and working with David was also, really wonderful. So I just enjoy hanging out with my fellow actors, whether we're working or not working. But I think you'll see soon that I get to have a small scene with Harold.
okay.
Yeah, so that was really great.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Well, you're amazing as well. So I'm sure you're also amazing to work with too. And, I just appreciate you taking the time, out to speak with me today. And it was, again, my pleasure speaking with you. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season and take care. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, and a shout out to all the Fromily fans out there and everyone who loves the show. We are so appreciative of the fandom, and we really hope you enjoy this season. There's going to be a lot of surprises, yeah, it's got a lot of stuff coming up. So
Oh, wait. Oh,
strap in,
can't
babies,
wait. I can't wait. We're
strap in.
excited. Oh, it's going to be amazing. We're excited. Thank you so much. We appreciate
Okay,
you. We love you. Thank you so much.
okay.
Bye bye.